All right, so in this lecture, we're going to talk about mastering pressure sensitivity. When it comes to digital painting, pressure sensitivity is a really important skill to be able to use well. Pressure sensitivity is going to determine how smooth your strokes are, how well your tapers on your lines are, and how smooth your gradients or blending is, okay? So we're going to do a couple things to test this, okay? So the first is going to be, we have this shape here, and you'll be able to download this, okay, or do your own, it doesn't really matter, but we're going to select this shape, okay? And we're going to make a new layer. I have this red color selected. You could pick whatever color you want as long as it shows up. And we're going to have a soft airbrush selected, okay, with opacity set for the pressure sensitivity. So the lighter we push, the lighter the paint will be, and the harder we push, the darker it will be, okay? Now your goal is to paint a gradient in on this, okay? Now, if you were to just paint solid, it would look like that. That's not what I want. I want you to get as smooth of a gradient as possible by starting on one end and very, very lightly lifting up on the other end, okay? So you can see like that. If you're just doing it like this, it's not going to be very smooth. Even if you only do one stroke, it's not what we're looking for. We're trying to looking for as smooth of a gradient as possible from the red color to the orange color, okay? You want to make sure you're going all the way to the top and bottom so that you're filling out the square or the rectangle, okay? So that's your first one, all right? And I want you to do that 3 times, okay? So just make a new layer. You can turn that one off or delete it, whatever you want. You can pick a different color if you want. And do that 3 times. Try and get as smooth of a gradient as possible using the pressure sensitivity, okay? Once you do that, you're going to make a new layer. And this one, we're going to pick something like the sketching brush, something that has a size pressure variance on it, okay? So the lighter we push, the smaller the brush gets, okay? So on this one, you're going to start out as thick as possible. Let's get one with a little bit more, actually. We want something that can get really thick and really thin. Let's try this one. Brush pen, is that a good one? There we go. Okay, so you're going to start out really thick. We're just going to do stripes, okay? And each one, you're going to try and make a little bit thinner. Okay? And you're trying to make them as smooth as possible. You're just going to work your way across the rectangle, making each stroke thinner and thinner and thinner using the brush pressure sensitivity, okay? Make sure you're not using the slider. The slider you can see my slider staying exactly the same. I'm not making my brush smaller. I'm just pushing lighter and lighter and lighter until you can get it as small as the brush will allow you to get, which it looks like I'm about there. I don't think I can get it much lighter than this. And you're going to do that a couple times. You can use any brush, just make sure that it can get thicker or thinner depending on how hard you press, okay? And do that 3 times for each of those, and that's your assignment. This is a really important skill. It might seem mundane, it might seem boring and plain, but doing this is really, really, really going to help your painting have a much more professional quality because your blending is going to be a lot smoother. Your lines are going to be a lot more controlled, right? So make sure you practice this. If you need to do it more than 3 times, go for it. Really make sure you get this down. And that's it for this lecture. I'll see you guys in the next one.